Nobody saw this coming as a crazy move shakes up the landscape of college basketball, and the Duke Blue Devils add another non-conference test to our schedule this season, and we got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Duke Basketball 365. If you are a Duke Blue Devil fan, please hit that subscribe button. Only 35.4% of viewers are subscribed to the channel, and it really helps me out a ton. Let's jump right into what we got for today. Starting off with this new game we got scheduled here, coming from CBS college basketball insider Jon Rothstein. News: Duke and Washington State will meet in a neutral site game on November 21st in Palm Springs, according to multiple sources. This means Duke is adding another non-conference basketball game to our schedule upcoming here. Washington State, just going to say it, not the best team in the world last year. I'm just going to double check this right now, but I believe according to KenPom's ratings, they were ranked 140th in overall team ranking. As I confirm this, Washington State 140th. They went 12-20 in the West Coast Conference, losing the first game that they played in the tournament of the WCC. But we know that bracket's pretty funky, so maybe they had a couple buys and then lost. They probably didn't lose in the first round, but we can see from some of the other stats from KenPom.com, we can figure out what they are good at. We can see here they have a pretty good three-point shooting percentage, at least they did last year, shooting 36.5% as a team, which was 39th highest in the country. Two-point field goal, also very respectable, as well as free throw percentage. The only thing is, defensively, they are as good as they are good with their offensive percentages. Their defensive percentages are horrible. So we can see here all the way at the top that those first few numbers, they were the 94th best offense in the country, which is pretty good, especially for the top 140th team. But their defense is what drags them down in the 228th best in the country. So we can foresee Duke hanging a lot of points on Washington State on November 21st. Not a super tough non-conference game there, but it does add to a non-conference schedule that is brutal for the Duke Blue Devils. Also coming from Jon Rothstein on X. Duke's 2020, we'll just go over the non-con schedule again one last time. ACC SEC Challenge will be Duke versus Florida, which is right now would be the number 1 ranked team in the country versus the number 2 ranked team in the country. We'll see where those rankings are as we proceed further through, the regular season up until that point, because that's not going to be the first game of the season. So those rankings, should Duke and Florida be ranked number 1 and 2 going into the preseason week 0 rankings, we will figure out that's probably going to be ranked 1 versus 2. Some other really tough games for Duke this non-conference schedule: Illinois, Michigan State, UConn, Gonzaga, and Georgia. Georgia, of course, being the easiest of those matchups, but Georgia is a school that is gaining a little bit of momentum. The SEC is a very deep basketball conference now, so their win-loss record a little bit overstated. If they were in a weaker conference like the ACC, to be completely honest, they would probably have a better record than they have had in the past. But Georgia, nothing to turn your nose up at, although I understand the other names on that list are significantly better basketball programs and games that Duke has a much higher chance of losing. Now, number 1 game you want to win, UConn, want that, I can't call it a rematch because it's not in March Madness, so we can beat them and they still have the leg up on us, but I do want to get the win that we really should have had last, was it in April? No, it wasn't, in late March, I believe, versus the UConn Huskies. That is super, super, super annoying. However, there is one game that you may have noticed I did gloss over when reading off the Duke's non-conference schedule for this upcoming season, and that is the game versus Michigan. If you've been paying attention to anything sports related, NBA or college basketball, paying attention to ESPN, there was a huge development this morning coming from Pete Thamel, ESPN's lead. I know he's their lead college football insider. I guess now he's their lead college sports insider. But coming from Pete Thamel, news: Michigan coach Dusty May is finalizing a deal to take the Dallas Mavericks head coaching job. Sources tell me, Shams, and Adam Schefter. May lead Michigan basketball to the national title in April. The allure of coaching Cooper Flagg as a linchpin piece helped draw him. Sorry, just laughing a little bit at the other people that were told here. Shams being, of course, Shams Charania, the head ESPN insider for NBA, and then Adam Schefter, for some reason, head ESPN insider for the NFL. But Dusty May, the coach of the defending national champion Michigan Wolverines, moving on to the next level. For Duke, the first and most easy connection to make is that game versus Michigan. I want to see if we have the date here. We don't, but that game versus Michigan at MSG just got a lot easier for Duke. We're going to see whether or not that will hurt their class of recruiting. We're going to see if that's going to hurt their transfer portal class. Also, it gives Jon Scheyer a little bit more higher of a leg up in the who's the best coach in college basketball conversation, which we're going to get into a little bit later. But Dusty May was someone that was certainly up in the top 5 of coaches, just like Jon Scheyer. So whoever you had higher, now Dusty May is off that list. But this is crazy, crazy news because Dusty May, he took the Florida Atlantic Owls. They made a run a couple years ago. I don't remember how far they made it. They may have made it to the Final Four. Then he takes that roster to Michigan, makes it to another Final Four, eventually wins a national championship. What I'm trying to say here is Dusty May mastered college basketball. he did. He mastered the transfer portal. He was the king of college basketball transfer portal, and he left. That is so shocking to myself and everyone else who covers the college basketball world. This is absolutely insane. Has people asking, why would he move on to the NBA, where coaches are hired to get fired? Coming from Jeff Goodman Hoops, one source close to Dusty May on the main reasons that he left Michigan for the NBA. 1, the state of college basketball and not knowing what it's going to look like tomorrow, in a month, or in 5 years. Also heard from other insiders, it may have even, I think it was someone from ESPN, some sort of big-time insider said the main driving force for Dusty May moving on to the NBA was the atmosphere and his surroundings in college basketball. Essentially, he doesn't like the NIL era, which I get it. It's exhausting, and I can't even imagine how much tougher it is as a head coach of one of these programs. The number 2 reason, the more positive one, the organization and the chance to coach Cooper Flagg. Duke fans know it better than every other fan base other than maybe the Dallas Mavericks fans. Cooper Flagg's a monster. You want to coach that guy. Another interesting tidbit, the Dallas Mavericks head coaching job, or another way that you may have, maybe you forgot it, maybe you didn't. Another way that this news affects the Duke Blue Devils, the Dallas Mavericks got rid of Jason Kidd about a month ago during the NBA playoffs. They left that job vacant for a month because they were trying to get Jon Scheyer to leave the Duke Blue Devils and move up to the ranks of the NBA. That was never going to happen, and we are very happy to see Jon Scheyer sticking around with the Duke Blue Devils. I understand coaching Cooper Flagg would have been fun, but I mean, Jon Scheyer currently has a higher winning percentage, career winning percentage as a head coach, higher than Coach K. I understand Coach K had to build the program, and Scheyer didn't, but still, that's impressive. Jon Scheyer has something like 3 of his 4 years. He's been the number 1 recruiting class. Unbelievable recruiter. Unbelievable coach. Just got to get over the hump and win that national championship. Jon Scheyer can be at Duke for however he wants, however long he wants, essentially, instead of the NBA where you can be a good coach and they still might fire you. You can go to the NBA, the conference finals, and your team might still fire you. And they could be right, looking at Tom Thibodeau, looking at the New York Knicks. But Scheyer, hey, if he was going to leave, he would have taken the Chicago job because of the Illinois connection, right? Right? I don't know. I'm glad to have Jon Scheyer, and I'm happy we are done with those Scheyer to the NBA rumors for now, because I promise you they will be back. That's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Duke.